Hey class, this is Mr. Stumball, and we're doing 5-3, solving multi-step inequalities. I'm going to be doing a lot of pausing and writing on this one to help you see it step by step. First thing I want you to do is stop watching this video and go rewatch 2-3 and 2-4 so you can get a pretty good idea of the multi-step rules and things of that nature. So stop watching this video, go watch 2-3 and 2-4. Go watch 2-3 and 2-4. Okay, I know that you're probably still there, and you said, I remember all that, I'll watch it later, or something of that nature. So, we'll just dive right into this. Okay, one problem that we got, 6h minus 10 is greater than or equal to 32. It's a basic two-step equation. First thing we need to do is figure out what is connected to the variable and what is not connected to the variable. Since we have our variable h multiplied by 6, 6 is attached to our variable. And we have minus 10 that does not have a variable with it. It's not connected to our variable. Get rid of it first. We've got to get rid of the non-variable stuff first so it can just become a quick one-step equation. Add 10 to both sides. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0, so we have 6h is greater than or equal to 42. Now we have a one-step equation, which is what we did all week long. Divide by 6 on both sides. H is greater than or equal to 7. When you graph it, your number line, give me your starting number. I want to see a closed dot because it says it's equal to also, and our inequality arrow is pointing that way, so our shading area will also point that way. Our equation on this one, negative 3x plus 7 is greater than 43. Our negative 3 is attached to our variable, being multiplied here, and our 7 is not attached at all. Subtract 7 from both sides, rewrite it, negative 3x is greater than 36. Divide by negative 3 to get x by itself, divide by negative 3, that becomes negative 12, x is by itself. We divided by a negative, switch directions of your inequality. They're going to have some problems. They give you words. You have to turn it into an equation and solve it, or an inequality and solve it. 2/3 of a number added to 6 is at least 22. So our first step is to rewrite it. 2/3 of a number is just 2/3 n, 2/3 x, doesn't matter what variable you use. Added to 6 plus 6 is at least 22. Now when you see the words is at least or is at most or anything along those lines, think of it in terms of money in your pocket. If I have at least $22 in my pocket, I can have $22. And I can have anything above $22 to say I have at least $22. If I have at most $22, 22 will be my maximum. It'll be my greatest number, and I can equal that number. In this case, when you see the word it is at least 22, this can be 22. That's where our equal sign comes in, and it can be anything greater than. So just think of is at least, is at most, things like that. Think of it as money in your pocket. That will help you determine whether you say greater than or less than, and you'll know if you need to do or equal to or not. So now that we have our inequality, it's time to solve. I can tell you a very, very, very strong probability will be you will always add or subtract a number first. I was looking at the problems. They all look like you will do your addition and subtraction first. So in this case, minus 6, both sides, we get 2/3 n is greater than or equal to 16. Now with fractions, you know I like to just divide by that whole fraction because it's 2/3 times n. So I'm going to divide by 2/3, divide by 2/3. You put that in the calculator, and it looks like looks like this on your calculator. 16 divided by, and then use your fraction button, your numerator over denominator, 2, arrow over to get to the bottom, thirds, hit enter, and we get 24. So n is greater than or equal to 24. Then you'll see problems that aren't quite as easy, but when you use little baby steps here and there, we'll get to where we need to be. 7 plus b is less than or equal to 2 times the quantity of b plus 3, and then plus 2 here on the end. Get rid of the parentheses first. Get rid of the parentheses first. Get rid of the parentheses first. Distribute that 2 to both of those. 2 times b is 2b. 2 times positive 3 is plus 6. Rewrite it. 2b plus 6 plus 2. And 7 plus b less than or equal to on that side. Now we combine like terms. Our 6 and our 2 add together to make 8. Now we have a variable on both sides of our equation still. That's not what we want. We need to fix it. We need to find our smallest variable. b is just 1b. There's an invisible 1 right there. And we have 2b over here. So obviously 1 smaller than 2. Let's move this b to the other side. Still just doing some adding and subtracting here so we don't have to flip anything. Subtract b from both sides. So 7 less than or equal to b, 2b minus b, or 1b, it's just 1b, b plus 8. So now we just have a one-step equation. Let me scroll down a little bit. Now we just have a one-step equation. We've got to get this b by itself. Let's move the 8 to the other side using subtraction. Subtract 8 on both sides. Negative 1 is less than or equal to b. We found out what b is. Now we are almost ready to graph. We want our variable here on the left, so we've got to flip everything. b is greater than or equal to negative 1. We flipped our sign, so our inequality still opens towards b. Here, b is greater than, so b is greater than over here. With our variable on the left, now we are ready to graph. Give me a number line, start me at negative 1, which is our solution. Give me a closed circle because that says or equals to. And because this inequality has that arrow pointing that way, that's the way my arrow is going to go. Your assignment, should you choose to begin, homework, page 298 and 299, 2 through 40 evens, and we will also do workbook page 65. I had a couple parents ask me if they're still bringing home homework, and the answer is no. We are turning it in class every day. There are a couple days where we might have an exception, but for the most part, they will be doing this work in class and turning it in before they leave. However, we will still put these assignments up here in case your child wants to get a head start on homework. So if you have any questions, contact myself or Mr. Hanna. Email will be the best way. Mine's right here. I have my middle initial with mine, and Mr. Hanna down here, both at mid-dell.net. We'd be glad to answer any questions you may have. And that wraps up 5-3.